Hello, everyone. Welcome to Claret and Booze. This is a much calmer Nick you're going to be listening to for the next 20 minutes or so. Probably be half an hour, knowing me. I just ramble on, don't I? Well, it is a daily ramble. It's an evening ramble. But look, I hope you're all well anyway. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe and don't forget, drop a like on the video. That's the most important bit. Thanks to everyone who jumped on board yesterday as well. And to everyone that liked the video and commented. There were some brilliant comments in there, particularly about Bonzo as well. Really good comments in there. I'm sure, you know, the family do read through all of that, and you know, I'm sure they know how much he was loved by the West Ham fans anyway. But you know, they're not going to have any shortage of reminders over the next few weeks and beyond, no doubt. I've got some news that I was going to break yesterday, but it obviously wasn't the right time, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. It's from SportsX, so you know I'm not an ITK anymore. I'm a conduit, so I'm not saying I've got this. Is you've heard SportsX on here before? He's a football agent, you know, guy who's brought several players in, particularly from South America to us. You know, Lanzini. There's bundles of them. Go back and listen to the shows that I've done with him before, and he's working with us again for January as well. How far he's going to get, I don't know, but I'm going to let you know what deals he has sorted for West Ham and what the outcome is. So yeah, wait for that. Before I get into that, though, I know that's probably all you're going to want to hear. I do just want to kind of address what happened yesterday as well with the mad rant. I back it. I back what I said. But yeah, I went way too far. That's always a risk when you go on straight after a game and you know you kind of when passions are running high. I do feel a certain amount of guilt towards some of the things that I said about you know players as well. For instance, you know, look, I stand by what I said about Bowen. I think it was disgusting what his leadership was disgusting. But Bowen as a player is a great player for us, and he has been for a long time. He is not a captain. It should be stripped from him because ever since he's been given that captaincy, he's gone downhill. He can't cope with it. He ain't the right character. He is a great player. He's not a leader of men. That doesn't mean he ain't a great player. It doesn't devalue him. He's just not that man. He's not. It was proven in that moment. You know, it was there for all to see. So he either needs to do the right thing for himself and the team, and that's give that armband back to Nuno and say redistribute that somewhere else. Or Nuno needs to strip it from him and, you know, it can be dressed up in the media to make it look like Bowen's done the right thing, whatever. But it does need to happen because we need fight, we need leadership, we need everything to be right when you look at where we are on the table at the moment. And we need a leader. I wouldn't go as far as saying give it to Potts or anything like that, like some people have said. Long term, 100%, but he's only just been in the team. You need someone in the team that's established. There's also a bit of a fearsome character. We've got some, clearly, as you saw there, we've got some arseholes in that team. Potsy ain't going to go and manage to sort of restrain Paqueta, is he? You know, he's a big, intimidating bloke, let's face it. That's probably half the reason why people stay away from him. When we play against Newcastle, I know we look at him like he's a silly bollocks, Paqueta, and he's always throwing himself to the floor, but he's definitely got something about him because he always bullies the Brazilians. You know, they seem to have some respect for him in that way. So I do think he's a bit of a handful. So I do think it needs to go to someone proper in the team, someone that's always going to be in the team as well. You know, people made the argument for Wan-Bissaka in the comments as well. I don't think that's a bad one. He's quite quiet, but I don't think anyone's going to fuck with him. You know, he's born in Croydon, wasn't he? You've got Todibo as well. Todibo is I just don't know. I mean, he's been good lately, but he's got nutty tendencies himself. But you need someone like that. Do you know what I mean? You do need someone at the moment who's fierce, who I don't know. Captains, look, they're not. They haven't got to be someone that's loved in the team. Not really. You know, it's a leadership role. You need someone that's not going to be scared to tell a player to fucking move their arse or shut up. You know, you don't need Mr. Popular in there. You need someone who's got a bit of authority, someone who's got a bit of presence about them. That's what we need, 100%. Nuno certainly don't seem to have a grasp on things from the sideline. So normally that's what happens. If you remember sort of back to Sam Allardyce, he had Nolan on the pitch. It was like an extension of him. We need that there because, make no bones about it. Paqueta is going to play for us again. He's only ruled out until Sunday, I think it is, isn't it? I think it is. Because we're playing Man United on Thursday night. But yeah, I'm still just as frustrated with Paqueta. I think it was disgusting what he did, especially what happened. Absolutely. You know, if anyone did deserve the abuse, it was him. But that said, you know, he came out, he's made that statement, which has made things 100 times worse because it was a very self-indulgent me moment to add to what had already happened on the pitch, which was a self-indulgent me moment on a day which wasn't about him. You know, it was about the team putting on a performance that would have made Bonzo proud and made the rest of us proud. If it fits in with that, you ain't got to win, but if you're going to go out, you go out on your shield, you know? You want 100% commitment. That's what you want. We didn't get that. We didn't. And that was just a joke. He turned it into a circus, which is why it's so unacceptable. It's why people, rightly so, there's a lot of people are saying, I don't want to see him in a West Ham shirt anymore. That's what you've done, mate. But he has come out with his comments and alluded to the fact that he wasn't offered any mental health support throughout, let's face it, the shitty period that he's been through for 2 years. But I don't think that it's necessarily down to the FA to be doing that. I think it's more down to West Ham. And it's no coincidence that today in The Guardian, I think it was Jacob Steinberg has just released that West Ham, now that the stable door, they're closing the stable door after the horse has bolted, they're offering him psychological support now. That sounds like a tick box that might have come a little bit too late. I don't know. I'm not too sure on that. But because in any organisation with what he was going through there, you would get offered some sort of support. Yes, he's got the money to pay for his own treatment. He has. But when you're not in the right headspace and you're up and down, the other thing that they didn't do throughout that period, which I really didn't like, they never came out and publicly backed him. So when they was defending him, there was no spokesman from the club that came out and publicly backed Lucas Paqueta either. They didn't do that. Now, I know the fans stood behind him 100%, but I'm not going to give West Ham credit for standing behind him because all they're doing is protecting their asset. They're shitting themselves that they're going to lose a load of money. They're not protecting Paqueta the man. They're protecting Paqueta the £80 million player. That's what they're doing. And it sounds like there's a lot of... there's definitely a lot of problems with this guy. You can see it. You could see the way that was going with Paqueta in that game. Really, Nuno probably should have hooked him sooner. When you go back, I have watched the game back, and his body language is terrible. He's ready. It looks like he's ready to blow at any point. He was tantruming, and we've seen that in previous games as well. He looks volatile as shit. So yeah, look, what I am going to say is, regardless of the situation, he deserves to be called out for that 100%. 100% because it was a dick move, a wanker move, and what he went and done afterwards with his message, even if it's true, it was a wrong thing to do. It's all about reading the room. Again, you made it about you. I don't like it. But that said, nobody does know what headspace he's in. They don't. And as I kept on saying in the video yesterday, he's on 150 grand a week, you know, blah, blah, blah. Listen, it doesn't matter. We all know. I mean, I went on to talk about a chap in the video yesterday that just this weekend had tried to take his own life. So mental health is a real serious thing. And I don't think it's determined by how much money you earn every week. I really don't. So what I will say is I'm not gonna judge, particularly people that know what mental health problems are. Probably should be a little bit more empathetic towards him until we know the full situation. To a degree, I think it's done now. He's had a battering. I battered him on there yesterday. He's had a full battering on social media. He'll probably get some bad treatment when he comes back. He will play for West Ham again. He will. He's not going to be the case that you're not going to see him again. That's not going to happen. And I think we're going to need him as well. But a lot of the affection that a lot of people have had for him since he's been here, we've been supporting him. A lot of us feel a little bit shafted by that because, as well as Lucas Paqueta's mental health, which obviously, look, we human to human, we all care about everyone. He has to understand how important West Ham are to people, to fans. There's West Ham fans that are suffering with their mental health as well. that don't have the same sort of resources. And like I said, it doesn't matter about money, but you know, I don't know. I think he needs to sort of sit back and realise the position that he's in. When you're a footballer of a big club, especially a club that are struggling, and you are one of the main men, you're going to get a lot of criticism because people put a lot of hope on you, a lot of pressure on you because they're looking to you to do something, to change the game for them, to change their fortunes, to turn a shit weekend or a shit week into a good moment for them. That's the responsibility you've got. So I think, yeah, hopefully this comes out in the wash. I don't know. It was an awful, awful thing for him to have done. It really was. And if he isn't in the right headspace and he's liable to do that type of thing again, I don't think they can put him back on the pitch until he's been assessed. They can't. I just, I don't buy into all the conspiracy stuff, though. I don't think it was done on purpose. It weren't. He just lost his fucking mind. You know, he lost his mind because he got a yellow card. I don't buy into it. Not really. But is he? He clearly can't play at the moment. I don't think he can play. If he's liable to do that, he can't play. And it was just really weird how none of the players were sort of running over there. Not just Bowen, but none of the players were going over there to sort of pull him away. Very frustrating. But in terms of Lucas Paqueta, I'm going to stick a pin in that one now because we're going to move on to Man United, which is on Thursday. The games are coming thick and fast now. And I think we're playing on the 4th and then we're playing on the 7th, aren't we, as well? So, yeah, so we've got some big games coming up. We really have. Now, SportsX, I'll stop rambling on because probably the bit that you wanted to listen to. So, SportsX has been talking to me about 2 players for the past month, all right? And I've completely dismissed one of them. I did. I basically, my words to him was, shut up. That's never happening. You're having a laugh with me, ain't you? But as always, I do get sent receipts and he convinces me with genuine evidence that I won't say what it is, but it's real. Okay, it's real. It couldn't be any more real. And these 2 players, and this is another reason why, I'm not saying that this could have been the reason why Paqueta booted off yesterday, but I do know that Lucas Paqueta is always keen to play with his compatriots, and he's keen for the club to show ambition and stuff like that as well. Well, you know, for the past couple of weeks, at least, a deal has been worked on to bring Caio Jorge, who you all know about, young Brazilian striker, fantastic striker, one of the best. And this is from a chap. Let's have it straight. If you've watched SportsX's videos with me before, you'll see the raft of talent that he's uncovered. He uncovered Aguero, you know, Lautaro Martinez. He's the one that identified those players. He brought Lanzini to us. He's the one that tried to bring Brobby to us in the summer just gone. He's the one who tried to bring Duran to us before he even went to Aston Villa. And then he tried to engineer it again, but they never listened to him because there's too much of a clique at West Ham. And it doesn't matter. It's less about the player and more about who's bringing you the player at West Ham. And unfortunately, because of a network of people that have infiltrated West Ham, these super agents, it's very difficult now for somebody that's always done great work with West Ham and for West Ham to get the right players into the club. So again, Brian Brobby, another one. We could have got him for 20 million last year. There is a list of players. I'm going to run through them now, right? These are just recent. Right, give me a moment. Hang on. So you're looking at Alderete is another one. So the defender that's gone to Sunderland, he should have been ours. We could have got him for, you know, around about 5 million. Malik Thior, the superstar that came from Schalke to Newcastle, their superstar centre-back that scored against Everton just recently. He's been fantastic for them. You know, we could have got him, you know, about a year or so ago for a lot less than what they've paid for him. Kirkes from AZ Alkmaar we could have got, but he got turned down. Pavlidis, who's now gone to Benfica. We could have got him for 10 million. The big one here, which is a real bone of contention, was Morgan Rogers. You know, this guy, SportsX, begged David Moyes to take Morgan Rogers, and he said he's not good enough. For £12 million, he went to Aston Villa. Cunha as well. Cunha, who was obviously at Wolves and then went to Man United before he went to Wolves. We could have got him. Darwin Núñez as well before he went to Liverpool. Julian Alvarez from River Plate. So the list of players goes on and on and on. It's ridiculous, and you'll find it hard because he tells me all of the players in the windows that we get linked with. There are no duds. There's not. He really knows how to spot a player. And in his words, he said, Kyle George, he said, this is the last opportunity that we're going to get to sign him. He's that certain of it, and we can pick him up for less than 30 million. I think it's 30 million euros. A young striker, dynamic. He can do the lot. I've spoken about him before. But here's the big one. So we've sorted out the striker if we go and buy Kyle George, right? And we've got these big egos in the team, To a degree, Bowen, I think a few of these players feel like they're too big for their boots. Lucas Paqueta, another one as well. Well, there is another player, right? I just don't want to say it because I know what you're going to say to me. There is another player as well. This is a double deal, people. Okay? Neymar. And I'm not joking. I've seen the proof. I've seen the receipts. Neymar wants to come to West Ham because he wants to get back in the Brazil team for the summer. It's not about money for him, although his wages will be good. They will be good. But it's not about money. He wants to come and play with Lucas Paqueta to build up a partnership with him, so that if it clicks, Ancelotti, who values Brazilian players performing well in Europe over performing well in Brazil, which is why Kyle George wants to come as well. So yes, that is it. I don't really know what more to say about it. We all know Neymar. Neymar's 33 years old. He's had his injury issues and this, that, the other. So yeah, you can pick holes in it if you really want to. But you're probably talking about, Neymar, Ronaldo and Messi. Yeah. Are three of the best players, undoubtedly, in the past sort of 10, 15 years. Would you say no to sort of a 33-year-old Ronaldo? Would you say no to a 33-year-old Messi? These are different level players. So Neymar is someone that would come in and instantly put West Ham on the map. It would do. It would be a very, very ambitious and clever thing to do as well, because he wants to come in, he wants to click, he wants to perform. He's a winner. We've spoken already about getting players in that have got a loser's mentality, this, that, the other. But to bring somebody like that in for 6 months with a year's option, so I'm told. So a 6-month deal with a year's option if it goes well. And Kyle George as well. Kyle George, obviously, that is one for the future. He's an absolute gem. But let me know what your thoughts are about that. If we can pull that off, just think of the team. Think of the team on paper that we could be putting out then. All of a sudden, you've got Guillaume and you've got Jimmy from the bench. You've got options. You can move it around. No one's place is guaranteed then. Bowen's place ain't guaranteed. And that's what we need. We need to create a bit of a competitive environment. And I do think it needs shaking up because our big players, I think they feel like they've got too big for West Ham. You can kind of see it in their body language. Let's fucking bring someone in bigger to put them in their place. I think that's what we need. They won't be the superstars anymore. And maybe it might just give us that little bit of profile back. Because if it goes well and we stay in the league, then it does. If you've got Neymar, that's going to help attract other players. What I'm hearing is, though, there is a stumbling block, all right? Because this deal has been obviously engineered by SportsX. Players are happy with the deal. Agents are happy with the deal. Sullivan's happy with the deal. Sullivan wants it to happen. But Sullivan's words to SportsX was, I don't make all of the decisions anymore because everything does go to a board vote. He's only got 38%. He said, so if I get voted down, it isn't going to happen. It isn't going to go through. And the feedback, the reason I'm making this public now is because the feedback that we're getting from Nuno isn't positive. Nuno isn't keen on either player. And the reason... Bit of an interruption in my broadcast there. So Sullivan has come out and said for the first time to SportsX, I think Sullivan has tried to push this deal through because, look, anyone that knows what's going on at West Ham at the moment, this would be the perfect deal for Sullivan. It would, of course it would be, as the owner of the club, to bring in somebody like Neymar and someone like Kyle George in January would, in his mind, completely sort of deflect, spin the narrative and put the fanfare back around West Ham again. So, of course, I can understand why Sullivan is interested in this deal. Look, I'm interested. I would be as well. Even though, after what we've just seen with Prima Donna Paqueta, there's going to be people saying, you don't want more of these. Well, I think we need them. We need great players. Where do you want to be at the moment, Just imagine if it happened. Imagine if tomorrow you open the papers and you've just seen, like we saw with Tevez and Mascherano, you don't get papers anymore. Just imagine you open your phone up and then you see a headline on the Evening Standard with Nuno, with Kyle George and Neymar under his arms. You're going to be excited about it, aren't you? Of course you are. It's going to be. It would be a ridiculous signing. He's still playing incredibly well as well. I've watched his last few games. He's playing brilliant football as well. So, yes. Well, look, there's no doubt in the geezer's talent. He's a generational talent. He's amazing. So it would be interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, nothing is done. Apparently, from what I'm told, there is a little bit of a concern around Nuno because, as we saw when he was at Wolves and more recently at Forest, if it isn't a Mendes player, he ain't interested. Now, we know why that is, all right? They're all in it for the same thing, aren't they? So, yeah, it doesn't so much matter who the player is. It's can George Mendes bring him in? You know, it's got to be a George Mendes player. So now we've gone from Salthouse and Silkman to now it's got to be a George Mendes player or Nuno's going to throw his toys out the pram. But my opinion is this. I don't think it should be down to the manager. We've been doing this. We've been leading this merry dance now for how long? I mean, look at what we're watching at the moment. What are we going to do? Go and give him 20, 30 million to spend on He's players after Potter bought He's players in and sold players that he didn't want. And then off Lopetegui and Moyes. Why not just bring in the players that we want to bring in for the club and fucking I'm done with it with these managers now. You know, we're rotating them like nothing anyway. It's not a revolving door. Just bring in the players that we think that we're going to need that's going to save us from relegation, that's going to players and fuck them off and get another one in. Their job is to manage the players that they're given. Anywhere else in Europe, that's how it works. You know, managers don't choose their players, their coaches. Yeah, it isn't because of any other. If Nuno doesn't want these players, it's purely because it's not a George Mendes thing. But think about it from Nuno's point of view. If you think about it, right? Oh, hang on. My mic's gone again. It's back again. Right, sorry. If you think about it from Nuno's point of view, it would probably be his biggest achievement in football. To actually bring Neymar and Kyle George to West Ham in a January transfer window when we're down the bottom. It looks amazing for him. Sullivan, from what I've seen, wants him. Nuno is going to take some convincing. So what do you think? Who do you want in the summer? Traore or Neymar and Kyle George? Let me know in the comments. Speak to you in a bit. Come on, you ones.